Call me? You would, right. Because I mean, you guys did get insurance for me, right? Right. 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 Sister Brown, if something would happen to you and Deacon Brown, does KJ know what your insurance policy is? He knows what your insurance policy is? KJ, where's your mom's insurance policy? Say again? You don't know? Okay. Sister Brown, if something would happen to you and Deacon Brown, does KJ know what bank you bank with? Does he know your bank account information? He doesn't know your bank account information? Does he know where you keep your checkbook? Do you know where you keep your bank statements? Does he know the number to the bank? Does he know the number to the bank? Deacon Roberts, if something would happen to you, does Nigel know where your insurance policy is? Does she know your banking information? Does she know your car payment? Who your car is financed through? Minister Mullen, does Bria know your banking information? Okay. Okay. Good. Good. Okay. KJ, if something would happen to you, does your mom know where you're banking it, who you bank with? Does she know your banking information? Say again? Okay. Does she know what bills you have? Tina, does your mom know your banking information if something would happen to you? Yes. Does she know where your insurance policies are? But they're in the house, right? But she don't know where they are, right? Would she have to look for them? Do you think she'd be able to find them? Jazz, does Cam know your insurance policy information? I don't have insurance. Okay. Okay, good. Good answer. Sister Long, does Deacon Long know where your insurance policy information is? Does he know who you bank with? Does he know your bank account information? He does have access to it. Tina, does your mom have access to your banking information? Javon, does your mom, Mother Adams, does she have information, your banking information? She have access to it. She know what bills you have. Does your mom have a car note? Does you know her insurance information? House, do you know her house information, the mortgage? Who's the mortgage company? How much she pays for mortgage? Okay. A little bit better than what I thought you were. I can't trip y'all up. Yes, ma'am.
Your e-congregation said, can you use the mic?
Oh, I didn't know they was on. Okay. Sorry, congregation. But again, these are some of the important things. These are some of the important things that you guys really need to know, okay? And a lot of times in our community, we don't discuss these things with our loved ones or our siblings or our kids or whatever the case may be, okay? It is important that as family members, as husbands, spouses, or whatever the case, even your children, they need to know where your important documentations are, where your important portfolios, your investments, your savings, checking, bank books, PIN numbers to your debit cards, things of that nature, okay? Your mortgage companies, your car payments, so that if something were to happen to you, they can be able to take care of those things while you're incapacitated or out of commission, at that point, okay? Does everybody understand that? We're going to talk about estate planning. Now, Sister Smith, she did mention what was estate planning, what the definition of estate planning was, and she kept it pretty simple, okay? It's pretty much your personal effects, your assets, that you're in love with, a process of how you want your personal things distributed in case of your passing, okay? Mrs. Day, if something were to happen to you right now, does Eugene know what to do? He knows where your insurance policies are? Okay. What about your banking information?
Yes, they have it over.
And yours?
What I need.
If something were to happen to you, don't you? Okay. All righty. Let's keep it going. All right, estate planning. These are some of the things that you guys really need to consider when we talk about estate planning, okay? The first bullet is to create an inventory of what you own and and who you own and what you own. What you own and who you owe, rather. I'm sorry. What you own and who you owe, okay? Now, again, I have this book that I'm going to pass out to everybody, okay? Actually, one per family, okay? So, Sister Long, you guys just get one. Sister Brown, you guys get one. I don't know if I have enough for everybody. And you guys don't have to use this, but this is kind of like a template of what things you need to do when considering estate planning. This has everything in it, okay? You can write down all your information, your household effects, everything you own, your bills, your insurance, your banking information, people to call, insurances, Social Security Administration Office, the VA, whatever that suits your need as far as household. Here, this guide would help you, okay? This is a very good tool. And if you don't want to use it, do something as like Minister Mullen says, she keeps a book of all her information, okay? Create an inventory of everything. Go through your house. Write down everything you guys own, all your personal effects, your jewelry, your things you got under the bed, money you got hidden away, precious metals, gold, silver, whatever the case may be, not just your bank accounts. Also your automobile information, cars, boats, bikes, whatever the case may be, okay? Make a list of everything, your furniture. Take pictures of it. Take pictures of it, okay? Everything, paintings, everything, clocks, whatever it is, your personal effects. One of the biggest misconceptions about estate planning in estates is that people think it's for the wealthy, and it's not. It's for people like us. It's very important to people like us because the wealthy, if they happen to take a loss, they pretty much has the means to make it up. Whereas with us, we don't have that kind of, we may not have that kind of access to funds like that or something put away that where we can make up those losses. So we want to make sure that all our personal effects, household effects are distributed or the way that we want them to, our wishes, okay? Develop a contingency plan, okay? Again, write down everything. God forbid if something happens, put it in a secure place. Once you get that box, that booklet or that list made or whatever the case may be, all your pictures, put them in a secure place where your loved ones would know where they are and talk to your loved ones. Let them know, hey, Eugene, my insurance policy is in this box over here. Or my automobile information or my mortgage over here, Bria, is over here in this box over here, okay? Also, pull it out every now and then. Blow the dust off of it because things change over time. You may get another bank account. You may not like Navy Federal no more. Hey, I'm over here at Penn Fed now. So you might need to update these informations, okay? Again, let your kids know. Let Jamila know, not only the number to 911, but hey, let me make sure he has the number to my grandma or my granddad. Or somebody, if you fall down and incapacitated, hurt yourself, or pass away, took your last breath, she knows what to do. Even Jeremiah, he's got my dad's phone number in his phone. He got his grandma and Angel's side of the family. All their numbers in the phone, okay? So again, he got his school teachers, he's got Minister Mullen's phone number. He's got pretty much all y'all phone number. So he'll get in touch with somebody because he just goes through that contact and calling everybody. He got Deacon Long number. So again, make a list, have a contingency plan, okay? Have a backup. Provide for your children independence, okay? This is another topic that we're going to talk about, providing for your children independence. Protect your assets. Document your wishes and appoint fiduciaries. Does anybody know what a fiduciary is? It's a person that has you in their best interest, okay? Create an inventory of what you own and what you owe. All right. Compile a comprehensive list of your assets and debts. Include account numbers, contract information, okay, as well as names, contact information of your family advisor, which is me. Keep summary in a secure central location along with original copies of important documents. Provide a copy of the summary for the executor of your will. This list could be a piece of paper or also a digitally filed kept in a secure place. Again, like I said, Mr. Mullen she just put together her own personal book of everything that she could think of. And when things come to mind, she'll probably update that book, over time, okay? When we're sick or almost on our deathbed is not the time to be thinking about this stuff. The time is now, okay? The time is now. Nobody's guaranteed to see tomorrow. And just like I know not to put his business out, but yes, Deacon Long has a lot of medical issues. But who's to say Sister Long won't leave this earth before he does? You see what I'm saying? So he needs to know what's going on with her. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, exactly. Right, 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 right. Exactly, exactly, exactly. And again, you know, it's unfortunate that way. In the same situation, Sister Long, me and my brother and my younger sister went through the same way when our mother passed away. And I'm in Texas, and he's in Columbus, Georgia, and my sister's in college at the time, and my mother passed away. So now me and him, we got to try to scramble and try to figure out what insurance policies she had, or bank accounts, or whatever the case may be. And we spent about a day and a half going through that house, going through old mail, old papers, trying to figure out, okay, is this valid? Is this policy still in effect? Or calling this person, calling these people, calling this company, and trying to figure out, is this still current or whatever? And again, she never talked to us about this kind of stuff. Me and my brother here to guess, well, I know she got life insurance, I know she got a policy, but she never talked to us. But we eventually found one, but who knows? She could have had 2 or 3 that we just didn't know about because she never talked about it. Her car payment, we didn't know if we still need to keep up the note on it, or if it was paid off, or whatever the case may be. So again, it's important to talk about these things, okay? Especially the couples that are getting married in a few months or a few weeks or so. These are some of the things you guys need to start outlining, okay? Your children need to know this. Your children need to know this. Develop a contingency plan. An estate plan allows you to control what would happen to your property and assets if you or your spouse were to pass away today. Okay? It also puts a document plan in place so that you can, if you were ever to become incapacitated, your family could carry on your affairs without having to go through the court. This includes a strategy for providing income if you were to become disabled, and covering potential expenses for care given that may be needed at some point, okay? It's very important to us, guys. Provide for your children independence. The primary goal for many estate planning is to ensure that dependents are taken care of. Is to ensure that the dependents are taken care of, okay? Your estate plan should include provisions for any children, including naming a guardian for the child under 18 and providing for those from previous marriages. That's important, okay, to have a plan in place for children if you have children from a previous marriage. Because everything that, God forbid, if you were to pass away, who's to say that those children from a previous marriage will get your personal effects and your assets? They could go to the current wife, okay? I had a client of mine, this is when I first started working with First Command, I had a client of mine, he was E7 in the military, Army guy. And he was going through a separation with he was going through a separation, or actually he was going through a divorce with his wife at the time. And he never changed over his insurance. He never updated his beneficiaries on his insurance policy. Never updated his beneficiaries on his IRAs, on his retirement accounts. Never updated that information once he got divorced from his wife. He never updated. Even though he's not legally married to the woman, he still left her as the beneficiary. For some reason, he never changed his SGLI over. His DD-93, he never changed it over, okay? So he was out in Belton Lake. This was a few years ago. He was out in Belton Lake on his boat, and current took him under, and he passed away. He died on the scene. They had to fish him out of the lake. Well, he had insurance and everything, but being that the fact that he was divorced from his wife, his former wife at the time, and his mother had came up to start taking care of his affairs and getting his personal effects and things of that nature. Well, there was a big dispute between the mother and the former wife because the mother felt that, hey, she should get the death benefits because they were divorced. But legally, that spouse, that former spouse, she was entitled to those benefits because he never updated beneficiary information. Never updated it. Never updated that information. Okay? So if you remarry, your assets may not automatically pass to them, to your children, okay? It also would specifically address the care and income of children or relatives with special needs that must be planned carefully to avoid jeopardizing eligibility of government benefits. Okay, so now part of my estate planning, and I will admit to you guys that my wife and I, we had to get a trust done for Jeremiah because he has special needs. Okay, so we want to make sure that, God forbid, if one of us passed away, the other one would still be able to take care of him and have all the rights to taking care of him without someone coming in or another relative wanting to come in and take care of him and they not really know all the needs and things that he require. Also, we have to make sure that, and again, me and my wife, we both know what benefits he's entitled to, Social Security or the Medicares and things of that nature. All his the doctors and their phone numbers. I go to just as many appointments as Angel do. We share the responsibility because we both need to know, okay? So again, you have to know the ins and outs of these things, okay? Ins and outs of them, all right? And again, when we talk about estate planning, and we had to do a trust, okay? And we'll talk about trust in a minute. But our trust was pretty expensive, and I'm not going to sit here and kid you and say that it's a small amount or whatever. I think me and my wife, we paid over $3,000 for a trust. But because we had a lot of things going on, we had to make sure there was a lot of things there was a lot of work that entailed us getting our trust together. I've seen some as cheap as $1,800 or $1,500. It just depends on how much the lawyer needs to do, okay? How much work it entails. But it's money well spent. It's money well spent. If that's the best money you could ever spend, trust me. Protect your assets. A key component of estate planning involves protecting your assets for your heirs and your charitable legacy by minimizing expenses and covering estate taxes while still meeting your goals. If necessary, your estate plan would include specific strategies for transferring or disposing of unique assets like a family-owned business, real estate, investment property, or stock in a closely held business. Many people use permanent life insurance and trust to protect assets while ensuring future goals can be met, okay? Again, you want to protect, this is the purpose of protecting your assets, okay? And again, when we talk about estate and things of that nature, I don't know if I covered this or not, but estate, when we talk about estate, it doesn't mean you have to have big mansions or millions of dollars or whatever. It's your own personal effects, your own assets, okay? It doesn't, there's not a dollar amount that constitute what an estate is. It's your personal belongings, okay? Your personal effects, okay? Document your wishes, okay? Again, you need to write down your wishes, whether it's a will, trust, power of attorneys, or whatever the case may be. And we're going to talk about these things, okay? And what's more beneficial to you. All right, if you want your assets distributed in a certain way to meet financial and personal goals, you need to have legal documentation to ensure those wishes are followed if you die or become incapacitated. Okay, this includes designated beneficiaries for your life insurance policies, retirement accounts, or other assets that are in line with your goals. It also means ensuring that the titles of material assets such as automobiles and property are named properly. Work with an attorney to be sure you have updated will disposing of your assets, okay? And again, there's various types of will. You got the living will, you have last will and testament, things of that nature, okay? Reflecting your end of life wishes as well as power of attorneys for health and care and financial matters. Again, document it, okay? In certain states, and we'll talk about this a little bit further, just to have a will may not be enough, okay, when it comes to life insurance policies or IRAs or things of that nature. Regardless of what you put in that will, it does not trump what you have as beneficiaries on your life insurance policies. You understand what I'm saying? Regardless of what you put. So say, for example, if Minister Johnson, rather, he names Comisica as the beneficiary of his $100,000 life insurance. Okay? But yet, in his last will and testament, he leaves his life insurance policy to his mom. That beneficiary on that life insurance that reads Comisica, she's going to get that benefit, that death benefit, not what that will says. Okay? Again, there's certain things in a will that does not trump what beneficiaries that are named beneficiaries on insurance policies or IRAs or retirement accounts or bank accounts, things of that nature. Okay? Appoint fiduciaries, okay? To execute your estate plan, you must designate someone to act on your behalf if you're unable to do so. As executors of your will, trustees for your assets, legal guardian for your dependents and or personal representative or power of attorney if you become incapacitated. You need to be sure your fiduciaries are aware and agree to your appointments, and that they know where to find your original estate planning documents. Now, me being a fiduciary at my company, I have my clients, when they have wills or they have trusts, even though they have their own personal safes at home or lock cabinets or things of that nature, I also have them bring a copy of their will and trust to me as well. And I scan it into their financial profile. I keep a hard copy in their file cabinet in my office, but I also scan it to their profile in the system. Because again, who's to say they may not leave it, or the house may burn down, or whatever the case may be. And they say, hey, Mr. Rogers, hey, I need this will, or do you have my trust, or whatever? Yes, I got a copy of it as well. Okay? Now, I also had I had a dilemma come up, I think it was last year. One of my clients, he and his wife are pretty older clients, rather. And they have a lot of assets. Over $1 million in assets. They got a ranch and a lot of in their bank accounts and things of that nature. But and I am their financial advisor, but they also asked me to be the executor of their wills as well, and I can't do that because it'd be a conflict of interest. So you have to make sure you know the ins and outs, and when you designate someone that you know the laws and there's not a conflict of interest, okay? I can't be the financial advisor and be the executor of their will also, even though I know all the ins and outs of their financial life, okay, their financial status. Any questions so far? Any questions about wills? I'm not saying a will is not something good to get. It's always good and important to get a will, okay? Because it's important to have documentation. But again, just make sure that you know the ins and outs of that will, what it can and what it cannot do. Yes, ma'am. Now, we're going to talk about that as well, but I'll go ahead and give you the difference between the two now. A living will is, say, for example, something that happens while you're living right now. Let's say, for example, you become incapacitated in an accident. You got hit by a car out here off Rancheria, whatever the case may be. And you're still alive, but maybe you may be laid up in the hospital or can't really make the decisions for yourself right now. So you have a living will, and you designate someone to make those medical decisions or those financial decisions for you. Whereas a last will and testament, that's something that your wishes that you want carried out after you pass away. You see what I'm saying? Any questions? Sister Wilson, right now, if you were to pass away right now, took your last breath, would Rico know what to do? Would Tay know what to do? Does he know where your insurance policies are? Tay or Rico? Okay. Okay. I got one. Everybody else was doing good. Alrighty. All right. Everybody know what a fiduciary is, right? Okay. Let's keep going. Financial plan. Now, I know we talked about in the past, previous financial classes that we had, but again, it's always good to have a financial plan, okay? We talk about estate planning, but again, this kind of mirrors it as well, financial plan. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but a good financial plan, I want you guys to consider this. A financial plan, take your gross income, okay? 5% of your gross income should go towards a savings plan, a savings account. 5% of your gross income should go to an insurance product. And 10% of your gross income should go toward investments. Does anybody know what the term, anybody ever heard the term pay yourself first? That's what this is. It's not going out and buying the latest clothes or the hairdos or shoes or whatever the case may be, or purses or suits or whatever the case may be. This is paying yourself first. You put away for savings. You're investing in an insurance product that take care of all your needs, God forbid, if something were to happen to you. And also you have an investment plan for the retirement and for short-term, long-term goals. That's what's paying yourself first is, okay? Your gross. And as an example, I just use a simple equation. Let's say, for example, you earn $2,000 a month. 5% of $2,000 is $100. That's what you should be saving. And if you're not saving $100 based off this equation, put something away, whether it's $25 or $50. Just do something. Something is better than nothing at all. My grandma used to say, "And is better than now." Means anything is better than nothing at all. All right. Anyway, $2,000 times 5% is $100. That should be going to an insurance product or insurance policy. Now, if you want to do more, that's fine, but that should be at least $100, okay? And also, 2,000 times 10% is $200, and that's what you should be investing, whether it's mutual funds for short-term goals or whether it's your retirement accounts, IRAs, Roth IRAs for long-term, for your retirement, okay? Put away for something for retirement. Any questions about anything? Let's keep going. Estate plan strategies. Now, here we're going to talk about some strategies, okay? These are some of the things that you guys really, really need to consider, okay? And do you have any extra books, Mr. Johnson? Give Sister Wilson one, okay? These are some of the things that we really want you guys to consider, okay, as far as estate planning. And it's pretty simple, okay? These are some of the basics. Name your beneficiaries. Again, on your bank accounts, name a beneficiary. Banking, checking, and savings accounts, okay? Bank and asset accounts with named beneficiaries do not go to probate. So again, if you have bank accounts, checking a savings account, and you pass away, you don't have to worry about a relative, some long lost uncle that you ain't seen in years, come and say, hey, you know what? Kenza wanted me to have what's in that savings account. No, because I've already designated to Destiny. I've already designated my checking account to Desiree. Or I have this other savings account over here. I got it set up for Stephanie. You see, she's my beneficiary. So again, those things cannot be fought over or in court. If you go ahead and name your beneficiaries, name your insurance policies, your bank accounts. They simply transfer to the named beneficiary after you're gone. Pretty much that's what happens, okay? You can add beneficiaries to your checking and savings accounts, your CDs, investment accounts, annuities, and life insurance policies. Again, you can add beneficiaries to those, okay? I didn't say joint owners. I just said beneficiaries. There's a difference, and we're going to talk about that, okay? A living trust. A trust is a legal entity that can own and manage assets, including a real estate, financial accounts, cars, business interests, among other things. The property you transfer into your trust while you are living will not go through probate. Again, you put all your assets in a trust. When you go to your lawyers and you get a trust, whether it's revocable or irrevocable, again, I'd ask you bring it to me so I can keep a copy of it, okay? Irrevocable means that you can't make changes to it. Revocable means you can change it. You can make changes to it, okay? The property you transfer into a trust while you're living will not go to probate. Instead, it will be managed and distributed according to your rules of the trust. A trust is a living entity. When I put you guys in my database as Janet Long or Samuel Long as my clients, I'll also put your trust in my database as a client. The Long Revocable Trust, Family Trust. And it has its beneficiaries because you guys are the trustees or whatever the case may be. And again, your assets. Some people put their insurance policies. They make the trust as the beneficiary. So that way, when the trust is read, everything that they have, all their assets are distributed the way they want. And they have to go through this person, this entity, this financial institution, this bank, or whatever the case may be. Everything's in the trust. For example, a living trust, for example, say you want to have property to a younger relative who's financially immature. Let's say, for example, Minister Davis, Eugene is financially immature, and you know that he has a problem with spending money. So instead of you having all the money turned over to him for a life insurance policy or a bank account, you put everything in a trust, and you can have that trust written up to where it could distribute monies to him periodically, maybe $100 a month or $500 a month, whatever he needs to live on, instead of him blowing it all at one time. You can set the rules your lawyer can help you set the rules for the trust. Okay? Because a lot of our young people, if they see this money, they're going to go through it. They're going to go through it. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes. Now, I'm going to get to that as well, okay? Joint ownership. Joint owned property can also set aside probate when rights of survivorship is in place. Again, let's say, for example, Mr. Johnson and Brother Wooten are they're in business together, okay? Or let's just say they have a bank account together, okay? For some reason, they're brothers, they have a bank account together, and they join ownership, okay? Now, this is a good thing because it keeps it out of probate. Now, let's say, for example, if Mr. Johnson passes away, Daryl is the sole owner because his rights to survivorship, okay? Which means that Brother Wooten automatically takes control of the account. It's his account once Minister Johnson passes away, or vice versa. However, when you have these joint ownership businesses or joint ownership bank accounts, that does not protect you from creditors, okay? So say, for example, Sister Richardson and Brother Wooten, they have a bank account together. And for some reason, Sister Richardson has bad credit. She got creditors coming after, bill collectors, and everybody suing her left and right. The monies that they have in that bank account together can be seized, even if Daryl put money into that account. He could, hey, wait a minute, some of this money is mine. I put half this money in here. It doesn't matter. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be careful when you having joint accounts with people, especially ones that are kind of irresponsible, because it does not protect them from creditors. You guys understand that? Gifting. Gifting involves giving away your wealth while you were living. To avoid incurring gift taxes, your property distributions must be less than the IRS annual gift tax exclusion. That exclusion is $17,000 for the year 2023. Last year it was $16,000. Okay, which means that you can gift up to somebody up to $17,000 without having to pay taxes. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
So all of our gifting that we've been giving to people, are we supposed to just be asking them to take the stuff
What do you mean, as far as tithes and offering?
that's given? So,
No, say for example, if you just
yes, and if if we're giving like money,
right.
we need to calculate that money up and add it and turn it into the taxes, just like.
Yes, that's why you have these finance statements. Yeah, you submit that to the IRS. Remember what I gave you at the first of the year? Alrighty. Yeah, I'll talk to you about it, okay? Transfer on death deeds. Now, here's something that's I like myself. Some states allow you to add beneficiaries to name real estate and other properties by way of transfer on death deed. Under this structure, you retain full control over your property while you're living. Upon your death, the beneficiary becomes the legal owner. So again, let's say, for example, if you have a lot of the bank accounts that I open up for First Command bank accounts, I have them payable on transfer on death, which means that, let's say, for example, if Minister Johnson has a bank account, a checking account, and he lists his wife, Ms. Kamiska, as his beneficiary, but we set up the account as payable on transfer on death, which means that he is the sole owner of that account. It's not a joint account. It's not with him and Kamiska. It's his account. But once he passes away, it transfers to her. You see what I'm saying? Now, after she gets that account, it's fair game. Whatever he wishes he has, or whatever desires, or whatever he may have left in a will and say, hey, I want you to use this money for such and such. I want you to use this money for college or whatever. All best she want to do with that money. You see what I'm saying? She doesn't have to maintain his wishes because it's her account now. It's not his. He could have set that account up, say, hey, I'm going to set this account up, Kamiska, I'm going to set this up for Charisma. And this is going to be a bank account that I'm going to put money into it. It's going to be transfer on death to you if something would happen to me. However, I want you to use this money for Charisma's college. If he passes away and Kamiska gets that money, she ain't necessarily got to use it for Charisma's college. She can do whatever she want to do with it, okay? Now, also with transfer on death, and again, because it's his sole account, let's say, for example, if Kamiska had creditors chasing her and getting sued by whoever, they can't touch that money because that's still his account, okay? Now, once, let's say, for example, if he passes away and the money's transferred into her bank to her, then they can come after her. You see what I'm saying? Any questions? Transfer on death is pretty good. I set these up a lot, for people with kids and things of that nature. Transfer on death, God forbid if something happened to you, then of course that bank account will go to the next child that you want to list. You know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be. Or you can do with stripes, which means that it can go to, let's say, for example, if Sister Wilson wants to go to Rico, if something were to happen to him, it'll go to JoJo. You see what I'm saying? It just passes it on down. Or she can divide it up how she wants. She can put half of to Rico, half to JoJo. or whatever. Okay? And again, depending on how some of the accounts are listed or designed, let's say, for example, if Sister Wilson has Tay as transformed death or rights to survivorship, she can have the monies transferred to Tay and then to Tay's children. You see what I'm saying? So and say, for example, if Sister Wilson has a sister, well, no, I need to get that bank account. No, I want it to go to Tay. And if something happens to Tay, the sister still can't come and say, well, I'm going to get the money. No, it goes down to JoJo. See what I'm saying? Or it can even she can have set up to where it goes to JoJo's kids. She can just keep it all in that little lineage. Okay? Just depends on how we set those accounts up and however you want them set up. And I ask my clients that all the time, how do you want this account set up? And they just tell me, and I do it that way. Transfer on death deeds continue. TOD deeds partially remedy the financial risk of joint ownership with rights to survivorship. We just talked about that. Your beneficiary creditors won't have claim to your property while you're living. Again, they can't touch the money while Devontae's living. Okay? But as the joint ownership, you can't enforce any distribution instructions once the beneficiary assumes ownership. Like I said before, once that money's transferred down to Kamiska, she can do whatever she want to do with it. Last will and testaments. A last will and testament is a legal document that explains how you like your property distributed and to whom. Your will also names an executor for your estate and a guardian for your minor children. A valid will overrides state whatever laws. Okay. Last will and testament continue. Unfortunately, having a will does not keep your estate out of probate. Again, we talked about this. Just having a will does not keep your estate out of probate. Okay? You got to name those beneficiaries on those houses, on your homes. Yes, sir. That gifting. Let's say, for example, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of how you have all these different kind of groups out here, these gifting groups, or blessed elements, or cornerstone groups, where you get a bunch of people together and I give $1,500, you put in $1,500, and we bless each other. You heard of those, Sister Long, Sister Tasha? You heard of those? Okay, well, based off and this was a couple years ago, the max gifting allowed per person was $15,000. So I can give gift up to $15,000 to Daryl, and not have to report it to the IRS. Anything over that, I have to report it to the IRS. I can give it to, now he's just one person. I can give it to Devontae, I can give it to Minister Mullen or Jazz. It ain't just $15,000 total for the year. It's per person. You see what I'm saying? Without having to go to not having to worry about the IRS, hitting me up for taxes. Did that answer your question? All right. Last will and testament continued. Your requested your request outlined in your will only apply to property that goes to probate. If you have bank accounts with named beneficiaries, for example, those beneficiaries will receive the assets in those accounts. Even if your will says something different. Again, if your will says something different, it doesn't matter. Whatever listed on those beneficiary on those accounts, savings, checking, insurance, that's what's going to matter. That's the law. Okay? The same is true for property and trust at the time of your death. That property will be managed according to the trust rules no matter what your will says. So again, a trust is pretty good, okay? Permanent life insurance. Permanent life insurance awards a tax-free lump sum settlement to beneficiaries. Death benefits. Life insurance death benefits is one of the few things that the government does not tax. If you sit down with your significant other or spouse or financial advisor and say, hey, you know what, I need $100,000 of life insurance. That's what you need. That's what you've identified your need to be, your survivor needs are for your survivors. So if, God forbid, if Sister Long was to pass away and she had $100,000, and once Chaplain Long did the request, the death claim request, he's going to get that full $100,000. It's not going to be taxed. Because when you identify that need and say, hey, I need $100,000, that's what you need. If it's taxed, it's taken away from that need you identified. You understand? If it's taxed, then he don't have $100,000 no more. So that's one of the things that the government does not tax. The government does not tax death benefits. Okay? Now, again, and a lot of you guys are my clients, if something were to happen to you, one of the people you need to first people you need to call is me, so I can get the death process rolling for you. Okay? And what happens? Let's say, for example, if Sister Long has a $100,000 death insurance policy and she passes away, I would do the death claim notification. I send up to the home office, and what they would do, and I know that death certificates, those things could take weeks for them to come back. They can take weeks, but what we do, we would go ahead and front Chaplain Long the $100,000. We go ahead and give it to him within 24 to 48 hours. That's how fast we give it to him. And once once the policy has been processed, once he gets his death certificate in from the coroners or wherever, and the policy is processed, then when the policy is paid out, First Command will get that $100,000 from that. You see what I'm saying? All we're doing is just fronting him the $100,000 until the policy's processed, and we'll keep the policy. You see what I'm saying? That way, he can go ahead and take care of his business with his deceased wife. You know, funeral arrangements, funeral directors, hospitals, whatever the case may be, final expenses. He can go ahead and take care of his business without worrying about when is this money coming in, when am I going to get this death benefit, such and such and such and such. Normally, spouses will get the monies within 24 to 48 hours. Any other next of kin, if they're beneficiaries, you'll get it within 72 hours. So it's still a pretty fast process. Okay? Any questions? Let's see. Lump sum settlement to beneficiaries or beneficiaries named on the policy. If you have more than one beneficiary, you would specify how cash payments get allocated to each. Now, again, you can list as many beneficiaries on your policy. You don't have to be one. If Sister Brown want to name Daryl and KJ and Kiera on her policy, she can, and Deacon Brown. And she can divide up however she wants, 25% each, or 33% to one, 34% to another, and 33% to another. She can do it however she wants to do it, okay? And also list contingencies. So God forbid if something happened to Deacon Brown, then KJ or Daryl or Kiera will be next in line, okay? Always name those beneficiaries, guys. Any questions? I had a client of mine, again, I see a lot of things. I average about 3 death claims a year. I have to send out death notifications because I have clients who pass away or the spouses or whatever. Even that park out here off Stan Sluter, that park where people be walking and jogging all the time around Stan Sluter. There you go, Lions Club. I had a client of mine drop dead coming back from a walk. And his wife called me up and said, hey, Mr. Rogers, you know, my husband just passed away, such and such, and this and that, you know, and this and this. So I had to send a notification up, time of death, cause of death. I don't really know the actual cause of death. I just say, you know, collapse, heart failure, or whatever, because I really don't know. Heart stopped, whatever the case may be, because I don't have the death certificate. But I got to get the ball rolling because, again, she just lost her husband. Now what am I going to do? And a lot of times that insurance policy not only takes care of the final expenses, but it also is for loss of income. You got to think this woman doesn't work and her husband was working. So now not only she got to deal with the loss of her loved one, she got to deal with how am I going to pay bills now because he was the main breadwinner. And he has some insurance, you know, that could help pay out, you know, things of that nature. All right? Any questions? And these are some of the things you guys have to think about. Like I said, you know, if you were to drop dead right now, would Comiska have enough insurance money to take care of 2 newborn kids, 2 small kids, 2 and a couple months? You know what I'm saying? That you got to raise by yourself for the next 17, 16 years? Or she has to raise by herself, plus take care of the mortgage, car payments, daycare that's going to last for another 4 or 5 years, you know, because they're small kids. Does she have enough money to take care of those things? If you would do everything for your family while you're living, you should be able to do the same thing in passing. And one thing I cannot stand is GoFundMe pages. That is a blatant lack of irresponsibility on your behalf if you have to do that. It's not cute. It's not, well, I just started a GoFundMe page. That is absolute irresponsible. Absolute. Additional content. Now, I talked about you got financial power attorneys, authorization to make financial decisions on your behalf. Again, if you're incapacitated, okay? You also have living wills. We talked about that earlier. Living will, God forbid, if you are incapacitated, you have that living will. It'll designate what type of medications you would take or procedures. Some people don't want blood transfusions if they're in a car accident or they need blood. No, I don't want no blood transfusion. I don't want to be a donor. I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want plasma. I don't want whatever. I don't want to take this type of medication. It's against my religion or whatever the case may be. I don't want this. And those living wills would designate those things. So if you ever were to be incapacitated, it gives instructions of what you're willing to take or accept or whatever the case may be in your body, or for treatment rather. I don't want to be in this nursing home. Leave me at home in my bed. Leave me to die in my bed. I don't want to go to nobody's nursing home. I don't want to go to no assisted living place, whatever the case may be. Medical powers of attorney. Again, medical powers of attorney as well. Healthcare powers of attorney grants someone legal authority to make medical decisions for you if you were ever to become disabled or incapacitated. If you have a living will, you likely want a healthcare agent also. This person can resolve any situations not covered by your living will. Okay? One thing I did leave off was long-term care. Long-term care is another part of estate planning, okay? Because again, this is something that you need to consider as we get older, and we may not have a lot of loved ones, or even if you do have loved ones, it doesn't matter. That you don't want to be a burden to someone. You know, you can go into maybe assisted living location or facility, and that could help you with your care needs as you get older. Okay, there are some very good long-term care medical facility, living facilities out there. But there's some bad ones as well. I'm going to tell you now, there's some bad ones. And also, if you do decide to get a living long-term care plan, let me review it for you, okay? Because some of them have these clauses in it, and I look for the ones that have the fixed rates, that the rates don't change on you, like your monthly premiums don't change. But there are some that after every so many years, the rates go up, and they go up exponentially. I had this one client. And he's an older gentleman. He works on West Fort Hood. He's an older guy, single, no kids, no family. He has a brother back east somewhere, but he has a long-term care policy, and he pays when he first got the policy, he was paying about what, maybe $700-800 a month for the policy. Now that policy's up to $4,000, and he said, "Mr. Rogers, I can't afford to pay this. I've been paying this thing for all these years, and every 5 years they keep jacking up the premiums on me." And I had to read it over. And it is an old policy, and I can't remember the company. If I knew it, I would tell you guys to stay away from them. But I can't remember. I know that they're written so confusing, where they have these multipliers and factors and whatever, and cost of living and projected costs and things of that nature. And they use that to jack these prices up on these clients, okay? And so now this guy, he can't afford it. Again, yeah, he's single and not married and not very, but who wants to pay $4,000 a month for a plan? You know what I'm saying? That's a 2 house note, 2 mortgages, or 3, depending on where you're living. Yeah, so again, you have to be careful and read these things, okay? Again, read these insurance policies also. You see a lot of these commercials on TV with Colonial Penn, with Alex Trebek, and all these other policies where they'll insure anybody over the age of 55, up to 55 and 80 years old, and you don't need a medical exam, you don't need blood work, you don't need questions or disclosures. They will insure you, but if you die within 2 years of that policy, they don't pay out. You have to live beyond 2 years in order for them to pay out that policy. There are also some that, hey, they'll say that, hey, okay, we'll insure you at age 50 or 55 and with no medical disclosures, no exams, no blood work, none of that stuff like that. But what they'll do, if you die within 2 years, they may not pay out the full death benefit, but what they'll do, they'll pay out the premiums that you paid up to that point. So if you had $100 a month premium and you had that policy for a year, they're going to pay you $1,200. That's what they're going to give you. So again, it just depends on how these things are written, and you have to read these things. You have to read them. I don't know if you guys remember Sister Frankie Murphy. She had a policy like that. She let me look over it, and I said, "Man, this ain't good." And here's a woman that's living in assisted, living quarters. Yes, ma'am. Right. Right. Yeah, they'll reset the time on you. Right. Again, you have to read these policies, ladies and gentlemen. And it all sounds good on TV, but again, it's TV. Okay? Any questions about anything? Again, summary, estate planning is one of the most important legal processes an individual can complete if they want to ensure their family's financial security after their death. Yes, ma'am. Right. 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 Yeah, me personally, Sister Richardson, I have about 6 insurance policies. I'm trying to get 1 million. I got about 750,000 right now. And one of the things here's some things that you guys, and even if you don't go through me, here's some things you need to know. One of the things you need to look for in insurance policies is called waiver premium. If you were ever to become totally disabled where you could not work, the insurance company will waive your premium and you'll still have a death benefit. You'll still be covered for the rest of your life, okay? One of the things you need to look for, okay? Also, you need to look for accelerated death benefits. Let's say, for example, Deacon Long has, I'm going to use him. Let's say, for example, Sister Jazz, she has a $100,000 life insurance policy. And for some reason, she found out she has 6 months to live. She got 6 months to live. So she knows she's been diagnosed with a terminal illness that she has 6 months to live. She has a $100,000 life insurance policy. She has to go into hospice care in some type of facility. Now, she's racking up a medical bill while she's in hospice care. Let's say that bill is $10,000. So she can take that part of that death benefit, living accelerated death benefit, meaning that she didn't have to die. She can take part of that insurance money, that $100,000 death benefit, and pay off that hospice bill of $10,000. And then when she passes away, the beneficiaries will get $90,000. You see what I'm saying? It's called accelerated death benefit, which means that you can use your death benefit while you're living to take care of your medical expenses if you've been diagnosed as terminally ill, that you're going to be passing away in a few months or so. Okay? Look for that. Look for OPI, option to purchase additional insurance. Look for OPI, option to purchase additional insurance. Let's say, for example, if you buy your policy and you have an OPI option, that means that at different intervals in the policy, ours start at age 22. Let's say, for example, I get Josiah, he has an insurance policy. He's, 7 years old. Josiah's 7 years old. At age 22, he will start getting OPIs, option to purchase additional insurance. He'll get these notifications starting at age 22 all the way up to 49 years old, which means he has the option to buy more. His mom has the option to buy more insurance every 3 years on him. She does not have to do an exam. She doesn't have to fill out an application, disclose no medical history or nothing. So say, for example, if Josiah is 7 years old right now, policy's about $9, $10 a month, whole life. At age 22, she gets an option to purchase insurance. She said, well, no, you know what? He's fine. Maybe at next option would be 25 at 3 years interval. 25, he decides to get married. By the way, he smokes. Also, he done got so stressed out, he weighed 300 pounds. He got high blood pressure, cholesterol, stressed out. The woman just driving him crazy. But he knows he needs some more life insurance because now he got a baby on the way. They done bought a house. Well, anyway, she can get more insurance for him. He would never be denied. He'll get more insurance regardless of his health, occupation, avocation, or geographic location. So whether he's high blood pressure, cholesterol, cancer, diabetes, HIV, you will never be denied insurance because you bought it back here when he was young and healthy. So whatever happens from this day forward, he will always be able to get insurance with no questions asked. A lot of my veterans that go to the military, that retire from the military and the VA, they're always looking for these disability letters. I'm going to get this 100% disability. I'm going to get this 100% disability. And I try to tell them when I go on post to do briefings, hey, get you some life insurance before you get diagnosed with these disability ratings. Because what's going to happen is when you apply for life insurance, they're going to ask you one of the questions, are you receiving any disability compensation? And if you are, then you may get a rate up or you may not get insured at all. But if you get your life insurance first, then go get your disability rating from the VA, then no matter what they diagnose you with, PTSD, high blood pressure, cholesterol, sleep apnea, whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter because you got your insurance before you got diagnosed. So now they got to give you these OPIs. because you got your insurance in place before you was diagnosed with all this disability stuff. You see what I'm saying? You guys understand that? These are some of the things you need to look for when we talk about insurance, okay? Again, I have a lot of policies myself. I just want to make sure that Jeremiah is taken care of, when I pass away or whatever the case may be. It's important to me, again, it is what it is. And again, it's a quick way of making sure your family's taken care of if something happens to you, because that money is paid out to my beneficiaries right then and there. It's not like an investment. It's money right there. Okay? Any questions about anything? All right, that's all I have, guys. Thank you for your time. Is 22, and his mom decided to get him an OPI, another option, which is another insurance policy. She can get a policy up from anywhere from $5,000 death benefit to $50,000 death benefit. So if he already has a $25,000 policy right now, she can say, okay, hey, you know what? I'll just get him another $10,000, a small policy. That's another 10, 15 bucks. Then at 25, maybe I'll get him another policy. So you can build on, because whatever your income allows you to do, you may not have a lot of money to get a lot of life insurance. But when you have those OPIs, take them as you come along, as your life needs change, as your income change. That way you can build up enough insurance, okay? So each insurance policy, each OPI is its own separate insurance policy, which means it earns cash value. It has accelerated death benefit. It has a waiver premium. It has all the bells and whistles as the one that you previously bought. Yeah, you can borrow against the policy. You can take money out. You can cash it out, things of that nature. Yeah, accelerated death benefit, yes. It has the accelerated death benefit, okay? And again, if people are pitching insurance to you, make sure you ask these questions. Or text me and say, hey, Deacon Rogers, hey, this guy's trying to sell me something. What I need to ask him? And I say, merge the call and put me on the line with him. I had to do that with Sister Murphy's insurance. Frankie Murphy that used to come in here, I had to do it with her because I had to call her insurance agent. And this guy was beating around the bush. I mean, he was talking all around, trying not to tell me that in 2 years, if she dies within 2 years, they're not going to pay out. All I can say is she's insured. I say, yes, but do you guys pay out? All I can say is she's insured. I say, Frankie, cancel this policy. Because this dude, he's snowing you. You know what I'm saying? So again, that's just something you guys got to think about. And my advice is free, you guys. My advice is free. So you guys can come see me anytime. I don't charge nothing. I got candy in my office. Yes, ma'am. Any questions about anything? All right. Again, get your estate planning done. I gave you guys these books. Write this information down. Make sure your dependents know where this stuff is. Put it in your safe or your cabinet or your file cabinet or whatever, and let them know. Say, hey, Rico, here's where this is. Or, hey, Kamiska, this is where this is. Or, hey, Riley or Rain or Lyric, this is where this is, okay? Let your dependents know where stuff is, because you're not promised. We can walk out the door right now, fall down, fall dead, and they don't know where nothing is. Yes. We got to look out for our people. Let's go ahead and take offering, okay? We didn't do that at the beginning of our service tonight. Let's go ahead and take offering. Prepare ourselves for offering. Rob. Sister Christian, does Tanner know where your insurance policies are? Yeah. Does he know where your banking information is? Do you know your bank account? Yes, I didn't study. Does he know your bank? If something would happen to you, does he know who to call? No, I'm asking about Tanner. Does he know what to do if something would happen to you? Does he know what to do? Okay. Okay. Stephanie, do you know what to do if something would happen to your mom? You forgot? What'd she say? Call her dad. Oh, okay. All right. Just checking. We finished? Okay.